Welcome to Observe's virtual event, Future of Observability, how agents are shaping reliability engineering. In the next 30 minutes, you'll learn about how AI is shaping the future of observability, as well as see one or two new agents that Observe has just released. Our event kicks off first with a discussion on developer productivity with leadership from Augment Code and Observe. In that discussion, we will learn about the emerging core toolkit of AI agents that we're seeing drive and improve developer productivity. Later in the program, you will see two new agents in action from Observe. But first, let's join CEO of Observe, Jeremy Burton.
Welcome, I'm Jeremy Burton, the CEO of Observe. For those of you that don't know Observe, we are an AI-powered observability company. We tend to focus on organizations that are scaling rapidly or running at scale. And really what we do is we help people troubleshoot distributed applications more quickly and help them get their observability costs under control. It's a very special week. We are introducing two new AI agents. The first is an AI SRE. The second is something we call Ollie AI and is very focused on TypeScript developers. We've got a very special guest here on the show today, Igor Ostrovsky. He's a co-founder at Augment Code. Igor, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
No, welcome. Hey, so tell us, actually, before we get going, just for those that are not familiar, tell us a little bit about Augment Code and what you guys do, and then we'll jump right in to sort of more deeper, meaningful questions after that.
Yeah, well, with Augment, our focus is on building AI for software engineering teams and professional teams and enterprises. And so our focus is on solving the hard problems around taking AI models that are kind of now very good with code and very good at solving different types of tasks, writing code, debugging, solving issues, fixing bugs, and making it work on complex code bases, complex environments like you see in complex, in larger organizations and kind of more complex environments.
Yes, I know from watching a little bit of you online, context is a big thing. And it's funny, I mean, I'd observe one of the things we always highlight to folks is our ability to give people context during troubleshooting. But what does having more context or greater context, what does that mean from a code generation standpoint?
Yeah, well, sometimes you hear folks saying that like, oh, AI can solve some of the simpler problems, or AI can work on the simpler parts of our code base, or like build applications from scratch. But we're not having as good results on our kind of backend system, or on our more complex part of the code bases, or the kind of the legacy code base, because there's just kind of many components, and you have to understand a lot in order to be able to understand that code or write that code. You're going to have to understand all the different components and libraries. And so that's where context comes in. Like if you can understand that context of the code base, then you're able to have the AI actually perform complex tasks on a complex code base. And so it's kind of this leap from the simpler problems, simpler environments, simpler code bases, to more complex problems on more complex code bases, and kind of enabling the AI to take you to that next level.
Got it. So developer productivity seems like the thing that everybody is talking about right now, and probably part of that is because where AI is probably having its most profound impact is with software engineering teams. I'm interested in your perspective on like how do you measure the impact of AI on developer productivity first, and then I'd also maybe follow that up and say, are there still areas in a developer's workday where productivity is inhibited that you think AI can make an impact?
Yeah, well, developer productivity in general is a hard problem. Like how do you measure developer productivity? I think different teams have different approaches, but there really isn't like an agreed upon way of measuring developer productivity. Yeah. So even like things that engineers agree are like a good practice, it can be hard to like measure it. So for example, how do you measure that using source control is good for developer productivity? And it's not like people really do like A/B tests to prove out that source control is good for developer productivity. but it's something that engineers just know from experience makes them more productive, and it would not make sense nowadays to write code without source control. And I think with AI, in organizations that adopt AI well, it has crossed that point from what we're seeing where it's just obvious that like using AI, you are
It's a no-brainer.
far more productive. Like it's very clear. Like if you just see it, and then engineers kind of know that that this is the way to build software.
And I guess
now.
if you really wanted to absolutely like empirically measure it, you could look at your data from the pre-AI era and compare it to post.
Yeah. And I mean, we do see data from customers. I mean, some of the teams do measure their productivity in various ways. And so then we see results like, oh, we can now do double the story points with AI compared to what we could do before. Or now our time to merging a PR is 40% shorter.
Yeah.
So you get these kinds of data points from teams and organizations that have them.
Yeah.
But also just the results are sort of so clear now that, and people who use AI well just kind of know that that's the way to build software now.
Yeah. And then what do you think still gets in the way of developers? Where do you think AI can have even more of a profound impact?
Well, I think that AI started in software development, like the first big use case was writing code and sort of generating more code. And now I think it's pretty widely adopted. Like almost everybody now uses AI in some way when writing code. So it was like the first really big use case. I think now we're sort of in the transition with code review. I think at this point every team should be using AI for code review. And so I think any team out there that's not using AI for code review or is using something that they're not like quite happy with, they should definitely look for a great solution for AI for code review. And we've launched our feature for code review for Augment, and that is kind of the next obvious use case.
So you are you're marching headlong from code generation into code review. I mean, it is a no-brainer. It seems like a logical next step. Yeah.
It is the logical next step, and kind of as you can generate more code and write more code, I think being also able to then get through the next gate, which is the code review, helping you catch issues before production. That is kind of the next no-brainer use case where AI is very effective.
Yeah. And then, okay, beyond sort of code gen and code review, and maybe looking more broadly at software engineering, what are the other, maybe a couple, 3 areas that you've thought of like, oh yeah, that's next, Maybe not on Augment's roadmap, but just in general, where you think AI can have an impact?
Yeah, we're seeing different forms of review, security, compliance, backwards compatibility. There are classes of use cases around that. We're seeing use cases around CI/CD. So being able to, we have a failure and having an agent go and kind of investigate that failure and look at the log and figure out what has happened and understand it. And have we seen this kind of a failure before? So then we're going to see these CI/CD failures. There are incident response type of use cases tied to observability, where it's like there's some kind of incident, and can we figure out from metrics what went wrong? Has there been some kind of a bad commit that went in? And so I think those are some of the use cases that we're seeing. And also accomplishing certain types of tasks, so like certain classes of tickets. Let's say you have migration tickets or particular kind of repeated task or workflow that you're often triggering. Those are some of the common workflows around agents and AI in software development that we're seeing.
And my guess at some point is, I mean, these agents are going to be tied together in some kind of unholy workflow to just give you an even greater degree, almost like a closed loop in some of these things.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you can think of the software development lifecycle as having different phases and different parts of them, and then you have different agents that can automate different parts of that lifecycle, and then you kind of start and you start filling out the edges and making more and more of your software development lifecycle either automated or augmented with AI.
Yeah, no pun intended, augmented. Hey, so we tend to focus a lot on enterprise customers, big accounts. We have banking customers who've got literally thousands of microservices. I know a lot of people, when they hear about AI tooling, they say, oh, okay, that's great. That's just for sort of the AI native crowd. What would you say to folks about, if they were thinking of using AI on a huge enterprise code base?
Yeah, so it's funny because I've heard the argument for adoption of AI both ways. I've heard the argument that like, oh, we're kind of building out a startup, and so we might as well build everything AI native, and it's like we embrace AI from scratch. And I've heard from much larger organizations and much more mature organizations the argument that, well, we have many developers and we need to make them more productive. So if I invest my time in making them more productive with AI, I have like this large effect of leverage.
Yeah.
And so adoption of AI seems to happen across
the board.
ranges of organizations, although it varies quite a bit. So like some organizations are adopting AI kind of very well, and they're learning about it quickly and figuring out how to automate different workflows and how to make different parts efficient, versus other organizations are kind of much more cautious or just don't know how to adopt AI.
Yeah.
And I personally think that it's going to be a pretty substantial advantage to the companies that are learning how to adopt AI and are on the leading edge of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And arguably, the bigger and more complex the code base is, the more you need it.
Yeah. I think asking questions and figuring out what's in the code base, onboarding, that's like a huge use case. Like developer starting on a code base and trying to learn about it and figure out what is and how do I implement something like that.
Yeah.
AI is a huge help with that.
What over the last year or so, I know you guys have been growing amazingly quickly. You must have heard some great stories. What sticks out in your mind as maybe one of the most fun or one of the best stories that you've heard in the last year?
I guess one kind of specific story that jumps out was DXC, where they had a project that was planned for a year. And then they kind of started with Augment, and in 10 days they had a working beta of actually like functioning code. So that was kind of a huge surprise to them, and that was a very nice validation of kind of the productivity.
Yeah, what's interesting, I've seen in our own engineering team. I mean, one of our founding engineers, he loves it because he's like, I can code again, because he felt, I think a lot of great engineers go on to be managers because they're a great example, and they can be a great coach and mentor. But unfortunately, often that means they've got to hang up their coding skills. But he loved it because he was like, hey, like I can now vibe code, or at least create an outline of something that I can then direct to the team. And I hear that story repeatedly. The more senior engineers can get back to coding and be incredibly productive.
Yeah, I can relate. I can write code across like our stack has like 4 different programming languages between like Rust and Go and Python and TypeScript. So it can be just different way of working, and for the more senior folks who would have a harder time finding the time to actually write code, now it's kind of possible. So it enables new ways of working and new ways of working.
Well, look, and actually, the other end of the extreme, I wrote this down because it's not often, I get a compliment from my son, but I've been on his case to get to grips with code generation tools. Anyway, he got the bug, and he doesn't often credit me with giving him good advice, but he wrote back to me, and this is a direct quote. He says, I tell you, I am living in the future, and wow, it's nice to live in it. Literally a week's worth of coding can be done while I sleep, which if you're a student, that's really important. It is awesome. You can really do anything with it. So, I think that kind of feedback speaks for itself.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how people feel when they learn how to use AI and apply it to problems that are important to them.
Okay, well, look, thanks for coming over today. Really appreciate it. Good luck with the move into code review. I'd have to check whether our guys are using it yet. And best of luck with the rest of this year. And thanks for sharing some of your insights today.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
Okay.
Great to be here.
Right.
Now that was an interesting discussion. Next up, the demos. First off, Jeremy Burton explores the newly released AI SRE agent from Observe.
We're going to dive into the AI SRE, but before we do that, a quick reminder of Observe's unique architecture. Quite like any other vendor, we store all of the event data in a data lake. And then we structure and curate that data and add semantics to it, and we form a knowledge graph. And then that's really what powers the AI SRE. So we'll try and point out some of this as we're stepping through. But I'm here with Cole. Cole's our AI lead at Observe, and he's going to give us a quick whistle-stop tour of what the AI SRE can do.
Absolutely. All right, here we are in my demo Observe instance, and you can see that we have some alerts firing. And you can kick off the AI SRE from multiple places, but one, of course, is when you're looking at an active alert. So looking here, it looks like we have some cart checkout errors in our cart service. So I'll click the AI SRE button at the top right, and we'll actually launch a new AI SRE chat session. Here, it's filled out some default prompt to kick things off, start looking for root cause and other deeper analysis. We could edit that prompt if we'd like, but let's see what it has to say.
So it's on autopilot at this point. It's just going to take that alert and run with it.
That's right. Here you can see it's doing some light analysis and then checking for runbook usage, if there is any available runbook in Observe. And then it's going to start to use the knowledge graph heavily.
And so then the knowledge graph, drill into that a little bit.
Right.
What's it looking for in the knowledge graph?
Right. So again, we have the semantic layer of the knowledge graph on top of the data lake. So all of the data that's in Observe, there can be relations between data sets and things called correlation tags, which are really the entities in Observe. And when you are searching or analyzing an alert, this type of semantic data is really useful for context for the LLM. So by pulling those things using a vector database, it can quickly do some quick searches on the knowledge graph and then power the analysis.
So it should help to make the SRE a lot more accurate in terms of what it returns. Yeah?
That's right. It's the easiest way we have to get the correct context into the LLM. So we can see, looking at the analysis that's performed, we can see numerous failing checkouts, which is not looking good. So we'll have to do some more debugging here. Scrolling down, we can see it looks like there could be an issue with Redis. So this is kind of some preliminary analysis.
It's always the database.
It is always the database, it seems. Yeah. And we can see it's also even leveraging some web search to find any maybe root cause, that some relevant data on the internet using web search. We can see it's pretty much come up with a root cause analysis on our behalf, and it looks like we're going to need to make some code changes.
So in this case, the AI SRE could find everything it needed in order to root cause this particular problem.
That's right.
And I guess this is great, sort of technical analysis, but I guess with all incidents, what you really want to know is, was it really a big deal? Who was impacted?
That's right. So we could actually easily ask the SRE what users have been impacted. And because the knowledge graph contains not only insights about your observability data, but in Observe, in the data lake, you can also have your customer data, such as the users. The AI SRE can easily make these correlations between observability impacts and alerts and the users.
This is a big deal. I guess this is what we call the blast radius of the incident.
That's right. So let's see. We can see now that it's generating query cards to analyze what users have been impacted. And it'll give us a nice summary at the end here. Looks like 81 unique users were impacted. And in this case, in the demo application, this could lead to lost revenue, which also has the information of in the knowledge graph.
Okay, so we've got root cause. We understand the blast radius. We know what users were impacted. I guess if I'm a developer, though, do I really have to come into Observe and learn Observe? It seems to be much easier if I could do all of this maybe from my sort of natural habitat, my development environment.
Absolutely. Well, everything that we've built into the AI SRE is also available via our MCP. So if you want to bring the context of Observe with you elsewhere, such as your coding agent like Augment, you can do so. So here in my coding environment, I've already done a search for the errors that are occurring in a different service of interest. And you can see that it's finding that information via the knowledge graph, as well as generating queries in Observe on the fly. That information is amazing context for my coding agent to go fix actual production issues, and we use this all the time.
Okay, so whether you're using the AI SRE or whether you're using it via the MCP server, the same information, the same context is available to you.
That's right.
And I guess the advantage here, obviously, you've got your code right there, and so the observability tool and the coding tool can work in tandem.
That's right.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks for the overview.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Observe has also launched a second AI agent, Ollie.ai. Now that's Ollie, O11Y.ai. Let's go to the crew and see what that's all about.
So now we're going to take a look at Ollie AI. It's similar to the AI SRE that you saw earlier, but it's a little bit different. It's an agent that is 100% focused on developers. It's very simple, it's AI native, and it's focused initially at least on TypeScript and Node.js developers. Speaking of which, we have two folks from our development team here, Cole, and who's our AI lead, and JT, who is our founder. We can also call you Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, so guys, we're going to take a look at Ollie AI, and I gather you've got a simple business that you're running on the side.
That's right.
Okay.
Here we have our production application from the weekend, Pet Chat, where you can interact with your virtual pet.
Fantastic. Sounds essential.
It is.
I hear it's taking off.
It is. It's a lot of traction. So much, in fact, we're having some issues with it. Users are reporting some errors, and we're actually not sure why. So you can see here we're attempting to chat with our virtual pet, and we're having some problems.
It's the problems of hypergrowth.
That's exactly right. In this application, unfortunately, we built it so quickly. There's no telemetry or observability built in, and we need to set that up quickly. So enter Ollie AI.
So this is the front door. You go sign up here.
That's right. You can easily sign up with your GitHub account.
Okay.
And we'll get you started quickly from there. So you can see once logging in, I just have to connect my GitHub account and pick the repository of interest. In this case, it's our Pet Chat app.
So now we're getting access to code here.
That's right. This is the combination of AI for debugging, but also for code access.
Okay.
So it's going to prompt me just with a few questions, letting me know it's going to analyze our code, generate our Ollie account, and an initial pull request with the instrumentation to get the data into Ollie.
And this is adding instrumentation to what? Front end and back end, everything.
That's right. If you're using Next.js or Tanstack Start, it'll instrument both the client and the server side. All right, so it's gone ahead and set up our account, and it's now analyzing our repository. And one of the first things it's going to show you is your Ollie score.
Ollie score. Okay, so let's stop there for a second. JT, I know this was sort of your brainchild. Ollie score, what is that?
Yeah, I think observability is a somewhat abstract concept, so it's good to put a number to how well you're doing. People always like numbers to go up. So this number is telling me that this app is pretty bad, and we need to actually improve its observability and monitoring.
Okay, so presumably we're going to go ahead and make that better.
That's right.
Not to ruin the cooking show here, but...
That's right. Starting at a pretty low benchmark here. But fortunately, Ollie has already started to generate a pull request, which is going to increase this drastically.
Now, this is quite different to most anything an observability product has done in the past. It actually is generating the instrumentation that you would use to troubleshoot your application.
That's right. The last step here, before we get into the application, is simply to copy over some environment variables into your deployment environment. In this case, I'm using Vercel for our Pet Chat. And once that's done, you're in the app.
And so can we go recheck our Ollie score to see if things got better?
Absolutely. We'll first go ahead and merge the pull request it generated for us.
Okay.
And once that's in, we can easily ask Ollie what our new score is. And there it is.
65%, look at that, 5 times better.
It's great coverage. It's got a lot better. We've done basic instrumentation to start with, none of the sophisticated stuff, just the basics, which is what a lot of people need. But we can go further, but we'll explore that later.
That's right. Yeah, we've gone ahead and added the auto instrumentation for TypeScript, and that's going to get us most of the way there.
Cool, so now I guess we can go troubleshoot.
That's right. Obviously, we started this process with our bug, so we can start debugging that. We can start looking at errors that our users are having, and Ollie's going to go leverage the knowledge graph and generate query cards to help answer and debug, and hopefully find root cause here. We can see that the users are having 500 errors, as well as some issues related around GPT-5 integration that we added last week. It looks like GPT-5 is not supported on the back end. It looks like some sort of bug there.
So we're not keeping current with the latest LLMs.
That's right. But Ollie can go ahead and fix this for us since it has access to the code. So we can prompt it to do that. And just like that, Ollie's now generating another pull request, fixing the actual bug.
Yeah, this mixing of the telemetry with the code access is pretty potent.
And really is a new thing. I mean, you know, it sounds obvious watching this demo, but it really is something that has not been done before.
That's right. Looks like that pull request is finished. We can give it a quick scan. And that looks good. So we'll go ahead and merge that. And after just a few seconds, another redeployment will occur. And then we can validate that the issue is actually fixed in pet chat.
All right.
Yeah, back in pet chat, we can try out GPT-5. And everything's looking much better.
Problem solved.
That's right.
Looks good.
Yeah, and if at any point you ask a question that Ollie doesn't have the answer to, it can go ahead and put up another instrumentation pull request on your behalf, where it can strengthen its instrumentation and increase your Ollie score.
So this is fairly mind-blowing, for me at least. We've got access to telemetry. We've got access to code. We can add instrumentation to the code. We can also ask business questions as well as technical questions. And I guess finally, you can even have Ollie AI go fix the problems that it actually finds as well.
That's right.
So it's almost, it's an entire sort of closed loop operation here.
That's right.
All right, well, look, that seems fantastic. Thanks for the demo today.
Thank you.
And we'll move on with the show.
Thanks for joining Observe today in this virtual event. Today we learned about the core AI toolkit that's driving developer velocity along with observability. We also saw demos of 2 newly released agents from Observe, AI SRE, and Ollie.ai. For more information, come join us at our website. We're Observe Inc., so our website is observeinc.com.